Hello, and good evening to all our dear scholars, my team, and everyone joining us for this inspiring session today. A heartfelt welcome to yet another powerful episode of the Buddy4Vidya Podcast series, an initiative by Buddy for Study, a platform founded by Mr. Ashutosh Barnawal sir in 2011 with the mission to make education accessible to all. Till date, Buddy for Study has empowered over more than 138,000 students through scholarships, education loans, and mentorship programs, bridging the gap between dreams and access.
So, taking this mission forward, we bring you Buddy for Vidya, a value-driven podcast and webinar series that brings together the extraordinary leaders whose journey spark humility, courage, and a purpose in young's mind. So, today's episode is truly special. In a country where doctors are often revered as the healers of God, sometimes even seen as God Himself, performing the highest form of service in the act of healing. So, today we are joined by a doctor whose career has been defined not only by innovation but also by compassion. Someone who did not confine medicine to the operation theater alone but used science, technology, and values lives across the world.
Yes, we are honored to welcome none other than Padma Shri Professor Dr. Prokar Dasgupta, OBE FRC, globally renowned urologist, pioneer of robotic surgery, professor at King's Health Partners London, and a shining example of how science, humility, and service can transform society.
So it's my privilege to introduce our today's guest. Professor Prokar Dasgupta is an Indian-born British surgeon recognized worldwide as a pioneer of robotic surgery. He has been serving as a consultant urologist at Guy's Hospital London and become the first professor of robotic surgery at King's College.
Not only that, Sir is known for developing the breakthrough Gupta Technique with Dr. Claire Fleur and for leading landmark robotic and 3D printed model assisted surgeries in Britain. Beyond the operation theatre, he has guided global research as editor in chief of the British Journal of Urology International and has been honored with many awards, including the St. Peter's Medal Fellowship of King's College and the prestigious Padma Shri for his dedication to medicine and humanity. Welcome, sir.
Namaskar, everyone.
Namaskar,
Anshika,
sir.
Aman, so nice to meet you online.
Thank you so
Greetings
much, sir.
from London.
So, I would start with the very starting chapters of your life. You were born in Odisha and studied at St. Paul's and St. Xavier's in Kolkata before pursuing medicine. Going through the rigorous Indian education, what values from those early years in India continue to shape you as a doctor and researcher today?
The most important thing I learned in St. Paul's was discipline. And I can't stress this enough. Perhaps it's a generational thing, but it's certainly served me well throughout my life. I remember very distinctly Sir Nair, who was our PT teacher, the late Sir Nair, and he taught us a lot. I mean, we had to turn up well dressed in clean clothing. The nails had to be trimmed. The hair had to be cut. The shoes had to be polished. It was military precision. And I think that discipline in one's own life can help you throughout the rest of what you do. And it certainly has helped me. Rourkela and St. Paul's, all Jesuits, Jesuit schools and colleges also allowed me to learn the art of public speaking because you have to be taught how to speak. And very early on, I lost all inhibition and developed that art, which has allowed me to speak to you and to various other people on various other platforms, as well as publicly, whether to politicians, to doctors, to school children. So that was the second thing that Rourkela and St. Paul's taught me. And the third was the value of friendship. I think, I'm still, thanks to social media, in touch with a number of my school friends, the little ones we went to where there were absolutely no people competing with each other. The friendship was pure, the minds were pure, and that love and affection and friendship has seen me through some very, very challenging and happy times. So those are the three key things that I learned from my days in Rourkela and then Kolkata.
It's great
Friendships.
by hearing your experiences from Rourkela. So, sir, your pioneering work with Dr. Claire Fall led to the world's famous Dasgupta technique for bladder disorders. Even though it carries your name, you have always emphasized teamwork. So, why do you believe humility and the teamwork are so essential for success, even when the world gives you the individual credit?
Look, no man or woman is an island. And I'll tell you the true story of how the Dasgupta technique happened in 1994
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
to Professor Fowler, and I was interviewed for this position. And the reason I got that position was because this was a very nice piece of work which was funded by the Medical Research Council, which involved looking at human bladders and the lining of human bladders to see what happened in the bladders of those who were peeing very frequently. There's a condition called overactive bladder. It affects nearly 250 million patients worldwide. And you can imagine the misery if you have to go to pee every half hour or every hour, or have to wake up multiple times at night. So this is called an overactive bladder and can have a profound impact on your quality of life. So the was to put a little telescope inside the bladder and take little biopsies from the wall of the bladder and then count the kind of nerves that were in the lining of the bladder to see if anything had happened to these nerves to make the bladder overactive. It's clear, yes? I'm trying to
Yes.
make the science very, very simple. Now, the reason I was chosen to do this was because while in Medical College, Kolkata, which is where I went to after St. Xavier's, I was training to become a surgeon, but also training to be a scientist. I had an interest in a parasitic disease in India called leishmaniasis or Kala-Azar. You may have heard of it.
Yes,
In those days, if you got leishmaniasis and it didn't respond to tablets, then almost certainly it would cause your demise. So I was inspired by Professor Prabhat Chaudhary, who was my boss at the time at Medical College, Kolkata, who taught me the fundamentals of surgery. I learned how to remove the spleens, which is a big gland which sits on the left side of the tummy in these patients to save their lives. But the thought process from Professor Chowdhury was there must be something happening to particular cells within these patients, which are called lymphocytes. And you need to be able to count these lymphocytes. So there are different kinds of cells in the body. The lymphocytes are defense cells, and there are different kinds of lymphocytes. So the way to count them is to put a stain around the cells and then see the differences between the cells. So I learned how to do that in Kolkata. So by the time I got to the UK, I had a special skill which no one else had. I could stain and I could count. Yep. The technology was complex, but those were the two basic things that I was taught to do. So I got the job based on those skills in Queen Square with Professor Fowler, the famous National Hospital for Neurology, internationally famous, to be able to stain these nerves in these bladders and count them. Okay, so colors are lymphocytes, staining and counting, overactive bladder, nerves, staining and counting. Yep. So that then led to trying to find treatments for these overactive bladders based on those nerve counts. And we initially tried a solution of capsaicin, which is a semi-synthetic form of chili peppers or chilies. You are in India, and the audience are in India, so we are very familiar with chilies in our cuisine. And I wasn't grinding chilies with a mortar and pestle. We were getting chilies, a solution of capsaicin in a plastic bag, and it used to be very effective. But then the majority of patients found it very painful. Yeah, imagine you put chili on the tongue, jhal lagta hai, and if you put it in the bladder, aur bhi jhal lagta hai. So we then clearly realized that this was not going to be an ideal solution and came upon the most poisonous substance known to man, which is botulinum toxin or Botox. You've heard about this. People inject it here to try and reduce their wrinkles. So
Yes.
they're available all over the world. And the method that we designed was to put a flexible telescope into the bladder, an ultrafine needle, the telescope, a sheath to stabilize the needle because the needle was so fine you could barely see it. So if you tried to puncture the bladder, the needle would just shake, it wouldn't go in. And we then inject tiny amounts of botulinum toxin with nearly a 90% success rate. And this has undergone many trials and now is standard of care as a second line treatment for those who have overactive bladder. So we've completely changed the course of a disease, a very, very common disease, not just in India, but worldwide. In 2006, one of my PhD students at the time, Arun Sahai, now a colleague of mine, teamed up with Claire Fowler and wrote this paper in the British Journal of Urology International, where this technique was named after me because they felt that I had changed the course of a disease from fundamental science translated into clinical benefit. But having thought about, and he said, look, we would love you to be one of the co-authors on the paper. Why don't you read it? So I said, look, I need time to read and digest what you've written. So the next day I called him up and I said, Arun, I'm really very uncomfortable about this being named after me because there is a team of people who have done this work. I've taken the biopsies. There are people in the lab who have helped me stain them. There are people who have taught me computerized image analysis. There are thousands and thousands of patients who have put their faith in me to inject their bladders. There are multiple trialists and nurses and researchers and PhD students like you who have made this a reality. So this is a team effort, and to name it after me is disingenuous. So although the Dasgupta technique was thus named, I do not think it is a one-man show or a one-lady show. It is teamwork, and I personally feel very uncomfortable that it was named after me, but that's history. I think it's important to remain grounded, and whatever you do in life, certain that it's not you who did it, but you were part of it.
Definitely.
So I still believe that to be the case.
It's a humility.
And I look, it's not humility. You have to believe in it.
Yes.
If it is something that you just say here and you think here that you are the greatest, then that is not humility. You have to truly believe in it. And I absolutely believe that a team of people, scientists, researchers, clinicians, change the course of one of the commonest diseases in the world. It is unfortunate that I am the person who is named as the chap who did it, but that just does not sit comfortably with me.
But sir, the work is still commendable. You worked in a disease that has to be worked. So while you were telling about how focused and like disciplined you have to be, the extraordinary discipline it takes for medical students to practice and perform because they have life at stake. So what personal habits helped you stay disciplined during your long years of training? And what simple routines can students adopt to improve their own concentration and health? What would you suggest our audience?
Look, this is different for different people. But as I said, the discipline learned early on certainly helped. And while I do not tell anyone to practice this, I have never really, apart from Sundays, needed to sleep very long. So you'll be surprised to know I sleep about 4.5 hours a night. So I perhaps get an advantage of a few hours over everyone else, but I have never needed to sleep that much. Not recommended. There are currently a number of studies which show that a good night's sleep, perhaps 8 hours, is optimum. So I'm not saying that that's what everyone else should do, but that's something which has worked for me. The other thing which I found really helped is long distance running. It's something I took up rather late in life, around 2007, 2008. And again, I started training for marathon running around that time with Peter Amoroso, my anesthetist for 20 years. My resilience is shown by the fact that although I'm a very slow runner, I have never not finished a marathon. So again, an extreme sport but not recommended for the faint-hearted. But I think running, keeping healthy, eating healthily, not having any unusual habits, I think is vital.
Yes, sir. So surely you inculcated a lot of things in your life so that you may not just, you're not bound to surgeries and medical stuff. So you had tennis, you had Wimbledon, you were a marathon. That's wonderful to hear.
Definitely, Ansika.
I'm also a decent cook, some of my friends say, although myself I'm not so sure, but some friends say that I'm a decent cook.
Yes, sir, definitely, sir. So, sir, many students believe their circumstances hold them back from big achievements. So, sir, what is your take and what would you say to young people who feel limited by where they came from or the opportunities around them?
Look, there are certain things which we can do for ourselves. So although I'm never known to preach to anybody, I say that control the controllables. So, you cannot control where you were born or how you were born or what socioeconomic strata you came from, but you can certainly control the things that are in your control. For example, I have always maintained that never be afraid to dream big. So one of my mantras has been never be afraid to dream. And what's the worst that will happen, irrespective of who you are? You wake up, the dream hasn't come true. It's okay. But I think despite what you can't control, if you can dream big, have a clear focus of what you do, then I personally think that keeps your eyes on the prize and allows you to achieve what you want to achieve. Please don't forget that if you do not, and you just have a regular life, which is what most of us do, then that's okay too. Not everyone has to be extraordinary or do something great. Having a good life, being a decent human being, helping others, smiling through life is as important as anything that anyone can achieve.
One question came to my mind. So you are such a successful surgeon and you also received so many awards and praises all over the world. What would the definition of success and happiness would personally mean to you?
Success does not equal happiness. There are people who are highly successful who feel very insecure despite their success and are as a result unhappy. So be very clear that the two do not go hand in hand. They sometimes do, but sometimes they don't. To some people, success would be becoming a lakpati or a millionaire or whatever that may be in whichever part of the world. For me, success was about being a surgical scientist and being able to use science to serve my patients. And that's what it was all about. And very much inspired by my late grandfather, who was a medic. So for me, that was what success meant. Success also meant that it came with a lot of happiness. And I tell you what really makes me happy. It is seeing other people successful. And that's what really makes me happy. Because as I said to you, I'm part of a team. I run my environment around me like a startup, so the best ideas win. And therefore, if someone within my team becomes successful, and recently I've had 7 colleagues who have got promotions, 3 of them into their own professorships. So, that is what makes me more happy than any element of personal success. But that's me. That will vary from people to people. But for me, success and happiness are different, despite the fact that the two can be interlinked if you want them to be.
Yes, sure, sir. So your insights and the words you said really, really inspired me so much.
Sir, talking to you serve as a trustee for a cancer research organization and a medical charities. So, sir, why do you believe giving back to society is so important as personal success? And how can young people like us start contributing to their communities. And also we have the scholars from topmost who have joined on this podcast. So it's the same question from there also. So what is your take on this?
So, look, one of the reasons for giving back, and for me, giving back is not just to UK, but also to my country of birth, India. So half my life I lived in India, and the other half I'm in UK. So in the UK, the charity world is very big, and the charities raise a lot of money selflessly to help other people. So, for example, I was I was a trustee. So these charities are run by trust, and they are guided by the Charity Commission in the UK. So I was a trustee for the Malcolm Copcoat Trust. Malcolm Copcoat was a very famous surgeon from King's. Unfortunately, he died in his early 40s in his sleep from congenital heart disease. Although I hold the chair of surgery in King's, Malcolm, if alive, would certainly have been that person. So no question. So when his widow Alice set up this charity from the outpouring of grief that happened after Malcolm Copcoat's passing, and invited me to join the charity, I thought, what a good way of giving something back, because there are a number of scholarships for young people like those who are on this call, which can really change lives. Because this is not massive amounts of grant money, but small scholarships. But for our BSc students, these are young medical students who are taking a year out. In the UK, it's called intercalation, where during your MBBS program, you take a year out and do some research, which gives you a flavor into what you might want to do in future. And giving these young people a grant to pump prime what they are planning to do in future can really change their lives. So this is giving something back to the next generation. Likewise, the prostate cancer research, which is another charity. We've raised nearly 20 million for prostate cancer. Again, transformational. So prostate cancer does not receive as much funding and as much importance as breast cancer, for example, in the UK. And, that's a pity. Personally, I think perhaps men bring this upon themselves because they couldn't be bothered about their health. If a woman notices something wrong with her, she will, wherever on earth she is, she will seek medical help. The man thinks, I'm the greatest, I'm the breadwinner, etc., etc. Nothing is going to touch me. I have got the Brahmastra and nothing is going to happen. But that's just not true. So trying to help men with cancer find new remedies was, again, a way of giving something back. Be grounded and give back, because other people did the same for me when I was younger.
So much, sir. You did a wonderful job. By listening to it, I feel very in my heart. So in healthcare, results don't always go as we expect, and how important it is to be honest with patients and families, even when the truth might hurt them or it would be difficult for them to hear.
Absolutely. You're talking about giving bad news.
Yes,
Part
sir.
of being a doctor or part of being a surgeon is that ability to give bad news. And we are trained to do this. It is not something that comes naturally. We are absolutely trained to do this. And again, sometimes, despite our best attempts, there is nothing we can do to a patient who is at the end of life, or where every other treatment that we have tried has failed. And while we may not be able to do anything at that point, it is vital to be honest with the patient and their families. And if nothing, just show empathy and be there, hold their hand, and say that you care. Look, whether we like it or not, just like being born was something that happened, the one thing that is guaranteed for all of us, including each and every one of us on this call, is that we are all going to die.
Yes,
We're
sir.
not going to live forever, despite stories to the contrary. So that is guaranteed. So why not be humble and sympathetic and show empathy at a time when you cannot do much more for the patient. It doesn't mean you should run away from the situation, because that is the time when your humanity, your honesty, and your skill at breaking bad news matters the most. We are trained to do this.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Sir, to coming on the last question, sir, as medicine advances with robotics, AI, and genetics, so the ethical question are becoming more urgent, sir. So what advice would you give to the students about keeping ethics and humanity at the center of their work, no matter how much success they achieve?
This is a great question, and it is absolutely a question for the next generation and actually the current generation. My views on this have evolved over the years. So many people say I'm a pioneering robotics surgeon. Again, going back to the beginning, I say that it's not me who did it. A team of us did this, and if you ever happen to hear me talk about 20 plus years of robotics at Guy's St. Thomas's, UK's most well-known hospitals, because we just bang opposite the famous Houses of Parliament in London. I always show the entire team which did it, some of whom are no longer with us. But in those days, it was about doing the right trials, having the best underpinning science that we could have, and then thinking about generating enough grant money to make it a reality. Because don't forget, we were the people who did it. No question about it. And that is a piece that is written in history. I was inspired by John Wickham, the first robotic surgeon in the world. In fact, he was operating in Theatre 7 at Guy's, which is where I operate today. So this is a historic operating room. So in those days, it was about what we could do. How could we convince patients to accept that change in their minds, where we were going from making big cuts on the body to tiny little holes, and then this misconception of the press that the machine was doing the operation, not the human being. Nothing could be further from the truth. It was the machine was the interface between the surgeon and the patient. The machine did not have a brain of its own. It just allowed the surgeon to do a finer job because of 3D HD vision, tiny little wrists, the size of my fingernail, with no tremor. Yep. And then, of course, we said, can we personalize the operations? And this is an example. This is the 3D printed prostate of a real patient. So every patient is different. So this is the prostate gland, but you can see that red mark here is the cancer. Yeah. So I know when I'm doing robotic surgery, I have to stay further away, because otherwise I'll leave cancer behind. Whereas there is an important nerve on the other side, which I can save completely for that man. Yeah? So this is a AI-generated 3D print from a real patient, magnetic resonance imaging scan before I operate on the patient. So this was about trying to develop the technology, trying to use AI to personalize the operation, and then evaluating it. So 20 years ago, we were the only people doing this kind of surgery. Today, for prostate cancer in the UK, 95% are done robotically. So over a 20-year period, we have completely changed how a course of a disease, just like we did with overactive bladders.
Yes.
But then comes the question which is pertinent today, which is the ethics of it all, particularly with automation coming into play. Yeah, so not only automatic cars, but what about completely automated robotics? So I lead health and social care in a major body which is called Responsible AI UK. And prior to that, I was doing the same for something called Trustworthy Autonomous Systems. These are very large grants funded by UK research and innovation. So these are international ecosystem to build responsible AI. So let me give you an example to illustrate this. The levels of automation go from 0 to 5, okay? 0 to 5. That means 0 is no automation. Most robotic systems today are level 1 automation. The most automatic system, which still has a human being planning it, is level 3. It's a machine which has a jet of water inside it for prostate enlargement. And, I use it very frequently, but that is level 3 automation. Level 4 and level 5 currently do not exist. About less than a month ago, the major paper published from Johns Hopkins, where they tested a machine, a robot, which could, by using AI and looking at a surgical scene, because now you can record these videos, which we couldn't before. You can now record the entire surgical scene, and you can segment the operation into different parts of the operation. So, I cut this, I stop the bleeding here, I remove this. These are different steps. And you can train the machine to segment those different steps. Okay, simple so far. And then you take that information from a number of videos, and having trained the machine, you then test it. And so this is like training and testing a child. Okay, so Hopkins did that, and in pigs, this machine could remove a gallbladder. This sits here just under the liver, can get inflamed, and typically today the gallbladder is removed by keyhole or laparoscopic surgery or robotics. So they tested this and said, look, this is 100% accurate. It makes no mistakes. And this was big news, of course. 5 days after this paper came out, I was asked to chair a responsible AI summit, which was patient-facing and public-facing at the Royal Academy of Engineering in London, which is the highest academy in that field within the UK. It's internationally famous. You'd have heard of Fellows of the Royal Academy of Engineering, just like Fellows of the Royal Society. And I put it to the patients, saying this is 100% accurate. What would you do? And I tell you what, this is where the ethics comes in. The answer from the patients who will be having this was not yet. They still want a human in the loop. They're willing to be part of trials because patients are much more generous than we think we are. And they are willing to be part of trials to help develop this technology, but they do not wish to not have a human in the loop. So the ethics of this and doing this responsibly is very important. You can see my post on LinkedIn because there was an artist who was drawing this in real time. Beautiful diagram. And the answer is not yet. The patients say not yet, and the doctors are, of course, worried about the future of work. They think that if this comes in, then I will lose my job. What will happen to my family? I can't feed them. There's a very nice review by Pisaridis. It's called the Pisaridis Review. Pisaridis is a Nobel laureate, well worth a read for the younger generation. And he is not worried about the future of work. I've heard Pisaridis speak at the AI Fringe, which happens during the AI Summit. Rishi Sunak, our previous Prime Minister, hosted the first summit.
Yes, sir.
Then it moved to Paris, and I was at the Fringe on both occasions, very fortunate to be invited. And I heard Pisaridis speak, and the message was, do not worry about the future of work. This is, as long as we work with it, do it responsibly and ethically, this is going to help us do the more mundane tasks while we focus on the problems that need the maximum human input. So I think the future is bright.
Definitely.
As long as we do not think that we should do something just because we can do it, we have to be responsible about the diversity of data. India, for example, 22 official languages and hundreds unofficial dialects. How do we take all this data and create a large language model in India?
Yes, sir.
Virtually impossible. Yeah, it's a challenge. I think as long as we interact responsibly and in a trustworthy fashion, I feel very, very secure about what is to come. I think this is going to be AI for good rather than the computers taking over the world.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Surely, sir. So a human So the emotions a human have cannot be imitated by a machine, and people always trust humans more than machines. And so I would now like to shift towards the fireside round of the questions. So like one question and one word answer.
Sure.
So who was your childhood hero?
My grandfather.
Okay. And one teacher who shaped you most?
Mrs. Bose, she was my English teacher.
And what did she taught you?
She actually was a great dramatist. So she taught me acting more than English. So very inspirational.
Sure, sir. A daily habit you never skip?
Still running every day.
That's nice. The surgery you are most proud of?
A robotic assisted radical prostatectomy for cancer.
Okay, sir. A book every student should read?
David Copperfield.
David Copperfield. And your favorite place in India?
Look, I used to say Manali, but being from Kolkata, I better say Kolkata.
And so one word you associate with success?
Humility.
One word you would associate with failure?
Resilience. Rise above it.
Yes, sir. Biggest life lesson London taught you?
London, this can't be answered in one word. This can't be answered. London is a fantastic city. You have to come here if you want to learn.
One message for the youth of India in a single line.
Do not be afraid to dream big.
Thank you so much, sir. That was quick, insightful, and deeply inspiring.
Sir, now coming on the last part of this session, we have the scholars, student from topmost aims of India. So they will be having a very quick questions. So I will be inviting one by one regarding to their career and something like that. So they will be asking their question. So sir, we have Palla Deepika from AIMS Raipur, MBBS 2023 batch, second year student. She received Kotak scholarship from our side. So yeah, Deepika, are you there?
Good evening, sir. I'm Deepika. It's very glad to meet you. And the question from my side is, what are the pros and cons of robotic surgery over open surgery?
Smaller incisions, magnified view at least 10 times, tiny little wrist, and no tremor, and now even a sense of touch. So less blood loss, less pain, and quicker recovery.
Yeah, I hope Deepika you got your answer. So next we have Isha Kumawat from AIMS Jodhpur from MBBS 2024, second year student. She received Kotak scholarship from Buddy4Study. Yeah, Isha.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, Isha.
Sir, it's too glad to meet you. My question is inspired from one of the patient in my clinical posting. My main question is, how do the AI and the robotics will change the patient and doctor interaction? As one of my patient in the clinical posting was there, and she was a lady, and she was speaking like it's my first time to the hospital, and she was shivering and so conscious. So if she is not relying on the human, then how will she rely on the robots and artificial intelligence?
So there are a number of co-pilots which are able to completely change a discussion that you have with the patient. The patient fills in a questionnaire. They come into your clinic. All you do is have your phone or your computer open, and it summarizes everything and generates a letter. So the advantage is you maintain eye contact, just like you and I are, and that is very reassuring to the patient. And at the end of it, the patient feels that they have been welcome and you generated it. But look, this is not for everyone. This kind of ambient AI is certainly not for the patient you saw who needs the human touch above all else. So the best you can do is listen to her, show her empathy and kindness, and make sure that she understands you are on her side. That is the time where you switch off the AI and give your full attention.
I hope Isha
Thank you, sir.
So last we have Ashita Ved from JNM Medical College, Raipur.
Good evening, sir. So I would like to ask you that what are the core differences that you have faced while treating patients when the two methods of surgeries are being compared, which are the traditional manual methods and the automated AI method?
Sure. So look, traditional open surgery is not dead. It is gradually dying, but there are certain emergency situations, for example, trauma, where it would be too late to try and do robotic surgery for the patient. So traditional open surgery is not dead. And don't forget that robotic surgery is not available or accessible in many parts of the world. So there, an open surgeon would do as good a job as a laparoscopic or a robotic surgeon. There are various trials which also show that the two are equally good. So if you actually scrutinize the trial, the message from them is that the outcome depends more on the skill of the surgeon rather than the technology. So I would not be obsessed about technology. I would rather focus on becoming a good surgeon with good technical and non-technical skills. But if a machine is available at your disposal, then clearly the advantages are manifold, which is why today most of what I do is robotic surgery. It's not because I can't do open surgery. I was trained to be a traditional open surgeon, but because I have access a variety of machines, I am able to train myself to do robotic surgery.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ashish.
sir.
Sir, can we have a last question from Alishan? Last
Yes, you can.
Okay, just Alishan, you can just.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
सर माय क्वेश्चन इज इंडिया में डॉक्टर्स ब्रिलियंट है लेकिन रिसोर्सेज लिमिटेड है. आपके हिसाब से स्केलेबल और अफोर्डेबल हेल्थ केयर मॉडल बनाने के लिए सबसे बड़ा क्या सीक्रेट है? और आपको सर क्या लगता है फ्यूचर में लाइक सर्जन को कोडिंग, एआई और डेटा साइंस की उतनी ही जरूरत पड़ेगी जितनी अभी एनआईटी की या फिजियो की है?
देखिए Alishan, in the London Institute for Healthcare Engineering, where I have a big team based, we have Prashant Jha, Professor Prashant Jha, as a professor of frugal technology and innovation. And he has always said that if you can produce something for 500 pounds, I can do the same for 5 pounds without compromising on the quality. So I think frugal innovation is something we are very proud of. It's not just the large sums of grant money that can be raised or the working with big boys and big companies. It's frugal innovation which lies at the heart of it. And I think India has a major role to play in frugal innovation, as it has throughout its entire medical journey. So, let's not underestimate what is happening in India today as far as innovation is concerned. India has its own machine today, SSI Mantra, developed by a cardiac surgeon for a fraction of the cost. So I think India is to be congratulated in what it has achieved and what it will continue to achieve over the next 5 or 10 years.
I hope, Alishan, you got your answer. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. It was wonderful having a conversation with you and the time you gave us. I hope so. The students, the question, and the conversation made you happy.
Great fun.
Definitely, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you so much, sir. And your story is not only about medical innovation, but also a power of humility, courage, and service that you are currently providing. So it's a very great learning from you, from particularly from me also, and for the all panel of the scholars who has joined on this inspiring podcast.
So lastly, I would love to see your cooking on Instagram or LinkedIn posted.
Get in and have a look at my at the LinkedIn, particularly that diagram that I mentioned.
Yes,
and
sir.
I think you will love it.
Thank you so much,
Technical.
sir. Yes, sir.
Will
So
be
we loved your
happy.
profile all over. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Namaskar.
Okay.
All the best.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye bye.